Hey guys, it's your boy, Min Mason, and in today's video we are ranking all of the 47 U.S. presidents. Um, Alright. So, we're going to be ranking the 47 U.S. presidents from best to worst, S being great, best of the best, and F being the worst. Which, if we're going for, the worst president of all time is James Buchanan. He was horrible. I think he was. I think one of what he was he probably served. I think he was the one that served for 30 days. Because he died of pneumonia. It was one of those presidents, but this guy didn't do much. I heard that he had a really bad economy and he didn't have great trade deals. But oh yeah. So next we have Jimmy Carter. Jimmy Carter, great man, but a horrible president. I think he was pretty bad for one reason. There was back in the 1970s, like mid of his term, like 1978, 1979, like something around there. There was a gas shortage because he decided to call off trades, I believe. I believe that he called off trades, and that I mean, I don't know too much about Jimmy Carter, but I've heard that he had a very unstable economy. Sometimes it was good, sometimes it was pretty bad, and it was just pretty bad. But one of my favorite presidents, which is, I would put him B tier because he had great legislation. He had great foreign policy. Foreign policy for Nixon was great. He had a very stable economy. He had most things right, but the downfall of him was Watergate in 1974, which sealed him not being ranked higher because of that controversy. Dwight Eisenhower, great leader, great president. He served in, I think, World War I and World War II as a general, and he created the Highway Act of 1960, which was one of the last acts that he created. I think was the last, but it's like we don't if we didn't have him, we wouldn't have stable roads. We wouldn't have stable places to go on a highway or anything. And also, the guy had a very stable economy. Every price was okay. I mean, he was a great leader. And by the way, for a fact, I think one of the reasons why I like Nixon is because Dwight Eisenhower's vice president was Nixon, and Nixon probably he learned a good amount from Ike, which was Eisenhower. He's a great president. He did a bunch of great stuff. Reason he isn't higher is because he didn't do anything that everyone like something that's lasting. But S tier. Let me just move him up here. S tier. George Washington. I don't even have to explain. Bro created the country. Bro was the best leader, I think, out there. I think he was the best president of leadership. And next we have, Abraham Lincoln. Abraham Lincoln freed the slaves. First of all, he did. What is that? Basically, he freed every slave, making sure that they had like actual legal rights. Like they weren't classified as humans, and they weren't classified to those rights. But Lincoln also was a very good man, very good, honest president, which also cut hopes into people about what a great president he was. But yeah, he was a good president. And I think this one's going to be funny because it's getting more closer to the popular era. I think Clinton was D. I would say Clinton was a D tier. This is showing my political beliefs a little bit, but it doesn't matter because it's a true thing. One, Clinton, basically, all he did was kind of sucked off of George H.W. Bush's economy and Reagan's economy that they created and stabilized for Clinton to feed off of. and Clinton had of course, the scandal, which also brought my rating down. I always thought that, I was always iffy on him. He was like cool, like kept the economy, like he kept it at the pace that it was, so it's not like a horrible thing. I wouldn't put in an F because he did keep it kind of stable, but let's get here. Woodrow Wilson. The reason we have taxes now is and so much U.S. debt is because of this guy. Well, most of the U.S. debt, because that might be a lie, but Woodrow Wilson in I think 1914, he decided, oh, I'm gonna give this bank. We're gonna make the secretary or the national treasurer, whatever, which isn't government, which isn't the government, which they make the money and they give it to us, which we have to pay them back for making. And so it's a very stupid idea that he created, and he's one of the worst presidents for doing that, and it set us up for failure so many times. But if we wouldn't have much debt, we wouldn't have much taxes. Not as many U.S. citizens would have taxes if this guy did not become president. And then I'm gonna skip Obama. I'm gonna keep these more recent presidents, and the president right here. This guy's pretty good. But Teddy Roosevelt is definitely A tier. That guy is one of the best presidents out there. That guy was courageous. He kept a stable economy. His legislation was good. His public speaking was great. He represented the Americans very well. And I think that he definitely deserves to be, And he definitely deserves A tier because of what a solid president he was. What a great leader. Now, FDR. This guy, I might get a little controversial here. I think he's more around C tier. C tier for reasons. He didn't really get us into World War II. I'm trying to think of a reason because I kind of do not like him. I think what he did was he blamed most of the things on Harding, which is the president before him. And I thought it was very stupid, and I thought it was actually kind of weird where he would, basically, 1929, the economy collapses. Great Depression, as they called it, right? He came in saying that, oh, I'm going to do all this, right? He fixed it. I mean, it wasn't the greatest fix at all. It was kind of a very poor fix. And it went up a little bit, like it was like growing, but not as much as it should have. And he wasn't the greatest president. I mean, when people say like, oh, he's the best, one of the best presidents, and I'm like, no, I think his cousin, right? It's his cousin. I think he's one of the better presidents. But yeah, that's what I'll wrap it up for FDR. Ooh, I'm gonna get spicy here. Let's go right into George W. Bush. Now this guy is an absolute terrorist. This guy lied. First of all, 9/11, that was the start of it. Not really his fault. One thing that was very stupid and very, very utterly stupid. He went into Iraq. I think it was Iraq. I believe it's Iraq. He went in. He started killing. He started sending people to Afghanistan and other Middle Eastern countries, which was horrible. I think that was bad. And they killed and the guy and he lied about weapons of mass destruction when there weren't. There was nothing there. They lied, and it's just horrible what he did. And he definitely deserves to be an F, because F is the perfect place for that guy. That guy is just F, one of the worst presidents. Now, James Buchanan definitely takes the cake for the worst president of all time. Alright, now I love this guy. Reagan was one of the best presidents out there. I think he was great. He was a great speaker. He's a great representative. He was a great leader. had peace. He had great peace. Great peace. There was maybe the Cold War, and I think he ended it. Actually, I think during his presidency it ended, and he also tore down the Berlin Wall, giving peace to both sides of Germany. Ever since World War II, which was a great thing. Which Ronald Reagan was absolutely one of the best presidents we've ever had. There's no doubt about it. And I think Bush Sr. is pretty solid too. I would say he's B. I'll put him B since he's a vice president for him. He basically kept doing Reagan's ideas, which was great because it worked out for the country. There was really no wars. There was nothing really bad going on, and economy was stable. Everything was great. Healthcare was good. Legislation was great. I mean, everything about Reagan and Bush were the best. I think they were one of the best duos of all time, I'd say, for leadership of this country. Now we're showing my true colors here. I'll put Obama at D, because at the last for D, because Obama won. His Obamacare was horrendous. It freaking put us into debt, a great amount of debt. And he also was bombing children and civilians in Yemen for no reason. And I'm wondering, why would he bomb people in Yemen? What did they have to do with it? And by the way, Yemen's a foreign Middle Eastern country. And to the point where I'm like, what happened? What did he do? What did they do wrong? I haven't looked it up fully, but I know that he did do that. And he's bombed several other countries where I'm to the point where why do people not recognize this? This is horrible. He's killing people. And then saying to other people that they killed people. And it's just... Yeah, it's just he was a horrible president. Herbert Hoover, I'm gonna put this guy maybe right here. Herbert Hoover, basically, if you don't know who that guy is, he was the 31st president, and he basically in his term he created the what is that? The Great Depression in 1929, and basically started to let hell break loose in the U.S. And so he's one of the worst presidents for doing that. He was very poor at his job, and I think he was very just bad in general. But all right, so next we have Andrew Jackson. I think Andrew Jackson was one of the better presidents. I think what he did was he cleared out all the national debt, and I think he was the 5th president. He was either the 4th or the 5th president, and he did one hell of a job, and I think he did a great job. He cleared the national debt. He's a ferocious leader, which was what we needed back then. I mean, well, we didn't really need it because we had Washington, we had Adams, we had Jefferson. But some of these presidents, I don't even know what they've done. But yeah, he was honestly overall a great and amazing president. I think Donald Trump he's not very appropriate in a formal setting. I mean, he's done it his whole life. I mean, it's pretty. He good. He does his stuff that he needs to do. He says, if he said oh, well, we're gonna put tariffs, and some people don't realize what tariffs do for the economy. We've been paying out to other foreign countries millions and millions, maybe even billions of dollars at this point, and which we don't get any return. And if we do get the tariffs and they move over to the U.S., then we'll have a bigger economy for that reason, because No one really wants to pay the extra prices, but they very are going to come in handy in a few days or in a few months. I would say, because I'm recording on November 2nd, 2025. But I think Trump was no new wars. There was no new wars during his first term. Since he is the second president to have two non-consecutive terms, I think he did. Right now, I don't know about his presidency right now because his presidency right now absolutely freaking different from what Biden did and what Biden was. Or what Biden is, I mean. Where is Biden on here? He's not on here. That already rank him bad because that's where pretty much he belongs. But, yeah, Donald Trump was a great leader. The thing is people judge him for stuff that he like. They said, oh, he said he was going to release the Epstein files. He did release the Epstein files. Yeah, he did. Pam Bondi is Secretary of Defense, I believe. Or not Secretary of Defense, but Secretary of State, I think, was what her position is. But they released the files. They haven't released the list because mainly I have no clue. I think that's the thing that I stay out of because I don't really care. What I think is I see the president for what he's done for the country. Some maybe a little bit for what he's done personally, but more what he's done for the country. That's why I put Nixon at top of B tier because Nixon, I'm a very big fan of Nixon. I loved his presidency. I didn't live through it, of course. I know it sounds kind of funky for a 13-year-old to say that. But I think he was a great leader, great foreign policy, best foreign policy that I think any president's ever had. Overall, Nixon and Trump were pretty good. Foreign policy. Trump was the first president to go into North Korea, which is mind breaking because North Korea puts all these hits out, and there are actual of him telling the story. I think it's some people telling stories about how oh, and Trump also brought down ISIS, which was a terrorist organization, and Trump literally when Kim Jong Un called him and he said, "I have a red button at my desk, blah 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 blah, and it's bigger, it works, and I can use it, blah 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 blah." Trump says, "I have a red button at my desk. Mine works, and it's bigger and powerful than yours," which immediately what I heard was Kim Jong-un backed off, and which made his ego crush a little bit, which is great because we need to show that Donald Trump will not back down, and that's what I think that most Democratic governors will think when they're when I hear the New York mayoral debate when Andrew Cuomo was talking about how Trump never came to the national gave the National Guard to his never sent the National Guard over to the state of New York but you're not going to beat Donald Trump. Curtis Lewa, which I actually endorse. That guy is great. I think he should because he's a great protector of New York. He's the head of the I forgot what his organization is called, but it's a great organization. It helps people. It helps the place be safer in most cities. But yeah, Trump was overall an okay president. He's just kind of being controversial. He's just controversial. That's it. But yeah. And next we got Gerald Ford. I don't know. This guy's kind of okay. I mean, since he was after Nixon got Watergated, I don't really know what to think of Gerald Ford. He was probably bad enough to where he got beaten by Jimmy Carter in 1976 of the election. So I was yeah, I don't know. I have no clue about some of the rest of these presidents except for Lyndon B. Johnson. Let's see here. D. This guy created the Vietnam War. I believe he created the Vietnam War because he saw this war between two parts of Vietnam, and he's like, you know what? Let's go invade, and let's go stick up for this one side where it's kind of stupid, which I thought was very, very idiotic, and I thought that his brain wasn't working for a second, because why in the hell would you decide that if they're having a civil war, I think it was a civil war between each other in Vietnam, why would he go and just like help one side out? Isn't that kind of stupid? And what was he trying to get out of that anyway? Trying to find which one looks like Polk. I have to find. I know this guy is McKinley right here. William McKinley. S. No, I'm just kidding. I'll probably put him at a C. He's okay. He just didn't really do anything everlasting. Is this Grover Cleveland? Yes, it is. Grover Cleveland. A guy to bounce back like Trump. I think both of his terms. I mean, he was the first president to have two non-consecutive terms. I think. Is this guy? This guy's different. Yeah, this guy's different. I have to put him back. But he's alright. I mean, this is Franklin Pierce Buns. I don't even have to explain why. John Quincy Adams, he was kind of like his dad, so, which was John Adams. And I'll put John Adams at A, last of A tier. Andrew Johnson, no. I think this is Polk, right? This might be Polk. I'm going to put him here because he made great contributions. I think he created the Louisiana Purchase, which basically gave, like, I think over 25% of the U.S. land, which they bought from France, I believe. So, yeah, he definitely deserves to be there at B, at the last to B, because it's a fair spot. So, I'm going to get JFK in here. JFK, John Fitzgerald, or whatever his middle name is, Kennedy. I think he was a solid president. He was a womanizer, though, which means that he slept with many other women except for his wife. What he did was he brought a lot of hope to the early U.S., and he was not a bad leader. He was young. He had a mind that we all. But a thing about the borders, which I thought is kind of weird, because you pretty much need a border, or else, like, how are you gonna tell apart from your land? And how are you gonna keep people that are coming into the country illegally? If you're legal, sure, that's fine, that's great. But that's my thing, why he wouldn't be higher, because B is probably good for him. Thomas Jefferson. Jesus, this guy is great. This guy is there. And, Jesus, I don't know the rest of these people except for Harry Truman. Harry Truman, D. I think Harry Truman deserves a D because basically Harry Truman was the guy that took over after FDR. And he was the vice president, I believe. But I think one reason why he was so bad was when after World War I ended in the United States, the economy was flourishing. Everything was super great and great and great. But after World War II ended, when Hitler decided to, lay himself to rest, World War II ended, in which this guy sucked. This guy killed a bunch of people. I think he was kind of a badass for doing that, though, because he literally did take out 2 nuclear bombs, the most powerful things back then, and bombed 2 cities with it, which I thought, actually, you know what, he deserves pretty much right here, because he did defend He defended our country from Japanese people trying to kill or trying to after they attacked on Pearl Harbor. He sent on the Enola Gay, which was the plane that sent the 2 nuclear bombs. I believe it was the first one, and then a few days later they sent the next one. And so this guy was definitely a great defender, and which backed them down from World War II, and which really backed down everyone, because World War II was hectic as crap, because Switzerland, which I just recently found out today, they weren't really allies with anyone. If someone went over their, someone went over in the sky of their land, they will shoot them down. Which I thought was like, bro, calm down. Like, it's not that deep. Like, let them fly past you. Like, but that that made like many other people like not die, which was great. Let me rephrase that. Many people did not got to see the next day because of that guy, or because of Switzerland's ideas politically. And then yeah, and Harry Truman was great. Harry Truman. But the thing is, one thing that he did wrong was when we had, after World War One, we had this great flourishing economy, right? Everything was great. That's what they called it, the great, I forgot what the 20s were called or nicknamed, but but anyways, after World War One, the whole economy flourished. I mean, everything was great, and so that's what I thought. I was like, oh, like. Yeah, but anyways, that's really it. Harry Truman didn't do a great job of flourishing our economy again. And then we're just gonna ignore these people. These are the presidents that I've rated: Andrew Johnson, Franklin Pierce, George W. Bush, Herbert Hoover, Woodrow Wilson, Jimmy Carter, James Buchanan, Grover Cleveland, Barack Obama, Lyndon B. Johnson, Bill Clinton, William McKinley, Gerald Ford, Franklin Roosevelt, Thomas Jefferson, Harry Truman, Rutherford B. Hayes, John Quincy Adams, George H.W. Bush, Donald J. Trump, JFK, Nixon, Richard Milhouse Nixon, which was his middle name, also his mother's maiden name. And then Thomas Jefferson. No, I'm just kidding. Forgot who this is. This is John Adams, right? This is John Adams. This is the first one. And then this is Teddy Roosevelt, Andrew Jackson, Dwight Eisenhower, Ronald Reagan, Abraham Lincoln, and George Washington. This is my list right here. This is, and I don't regret the Trump one, because the Trump one, he wasn't actually a pretty solid leader. He's just unprofessional sometimes, which I don't really mind personally, but some people do. The reason he isn't higher is because he just isn't. He's actually a really good president. I think that he's just, I don't know. It's just going to get me in trouble if I put it higher. But I think this is a perfect, pretty unbiased list, because I am politically neutral, so we can argue that. But I'm more leaning to the Republican side because of Trump. Obama deserved it. He did, one thing that he did do is he did kill Osama bin Laden, which was the leader of Al Qaeda, which did 9/11, which was a horrible, worst attack on American soil, which killed over, I think, 2,977 people. including from people in the World Trade Center, Pentagon, and the planes. So yeah, this is mine. This is my list. If you don't like it, that's okay. Say it down in the comments what you like or whatever. If I don't have comments open. But thank you guys. I'll see you in the next one. Peace.